That's not a ploy. That's not a. It's just we're gonna use the guys that are in the best frame of mind, state of health, and the guys that are dialed in and tuned in. And we got too much talent in that room to whoever's out there not be that guy. And I'm not saying CJ hasn't been that. I'm just saying that when he is all in and he's dialed in and he's sharp, we all know what he can do. And we're going to make sure, and it's not just about, we all make it about him. I mean, not we all, but the media and people want to talk about him from that regard because, he's a proven playmaker. But it's the same standard for every guy that we have in the room. This is how we're going to practice. This is how we're going to, be at meetings. This is how we're going to do that. And so we're just holding everybody to the same standard. And CJ certainly responded there towards before he got hurt. Was on the right track and is having a good camp. We just want a consistent camp, a consistent grind every day. He knows this. We've talked at length about that, and we fully expect when he comes back that with him having 12 games left in his senior year, for they to be the best 12 weeks that he can make them.
Gary, you've been a part of Arkansas. Welcome in. It's our Thursday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, coming to you here from KDSJ 479, Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. But as always, it's not 1 o'clock. We're going to do an hour show from 2 to 3 today. Make a note, we will not be in the studio tomorrow. We've got some in-house things that we have to take care of just tomorrow, but we'll be back in our full entirety. And also, too, make a note, Monday, we start our SEC Caravan here on OTH as we make a trip around and try to get involved with all 13 institutions and find out how fall camp is going at each and every one of you fans, particular universities. But we came in with audio from Coach Barry Lunny, talked about the tight end room, also talked about C.J. O'Grady. And, the thing that I really took from that is he feels real good about that room, the depth in that room, the talent in that room, and the future going forward. You got 2 seniors, a junior and a redshirt freshman. I mean, a true freshman, not redshirt. It has to look bright. It has to look real bright. I know a lot of negative talk has come out. Looking at Brady Pop Cheyenne O'Grady, he kind of addressed that in a very positive light. Felt that CJ responded really well from being put on the third team, I believe. One day last week, came back really, really well. And I've seen this young man been a great ambassador of the university in his time here on campus. But for the most part, Barry, like I said, feels good about that room and feels good about the offense in general. Now, the general take of what you guys are going to realize is the offensive coaches were not happy as far as the overall performance in today's fall camp day 12. And I want to go over here real briefly. I know he's taking care of a few things and get some insight from my producer, Demetrius Johnson. But real quick, I want to get you guys set up for this lineup today. At 2:15, we'll be joined to talk more Razorback fall camp by Scotty Borland of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. He'll be in to join us in the second segment. And following Scotty in segment number 3, we're going to have Nikki Chevenel of Rivals.com. She's going to come on. We're going to also talk Arkansas football and get into a little recruitment. How's things going this 2023? We'll find out more from Nikki when she comes on at 2:30. But real quick, I want to kick it over here to my producer. We call him demigod in these parts. I call him the best producer in all the business. He keeps me in line. He's not going to have some more audio for us to train to you shortly. But I want to kick it over to him real quick and ask him a question. It came out yesterday. The question was Chad asked him to be the starting tight end. Gunnar Grayson is the guy that Chad mentioned. When you watch Gunnar, a very, very fluid young man with the way that he runs, tremendous amount it could be play to play. You could see Chase Harrell in play number 2, and you could also see Hudson, I took it, in play number 3. With the rotation that you're going to have at that spot, how much of the offensive playbook can you really throw out there when you look at 2 guys in Chase and Hudson that have yet to play a collegiate snap at the tight end position, but also too you have Gunner, who has a tremendous amount of speed. What from your vantage point, who would that entail? And how comfortable do you feel, with CJ being out and the other 2 guys filling in just for that one game? I'm not gonna say that they're gonna be in because I don't think CJ will be out past the Portland State game. I fully anticipate that he'll be back for the opening SEC game in Oxford versus Ole Miss. I fully anticipate that, but it's going to be a hard pick. Who do you go out with? Because I've seen Chase have a great camp. I've seen Hudson, going through, the concussion protocol that he went through, but coming out and really he's caught the ball quite well. Seems to have a good grasp of the offense here in the early stages of his freshman year, 12 days in to his fall camp. The initial fall camp, I see that he's moving quite well, but Chase Harrell, Demetrius, is going to be hard. It's going to be hard not to play that young man. I mean, that young man, and you called it. I remember last year during the game that you said he might be best suited for the tight end spot. What was it about Chase that let you kind of have that feeling that maybe he needed to go to the tight end spot, Demetrius?
I just seen a lot of competition at that wide receiver position. I seen he did have the athleticism to catch the ball. I was like, man, this guy really has nice hands. I didn't know who he was, so he really just stuck out to me when I seen him catch the ball, and he was able to make some moves after he caught the ball. So I just think him and O'Grady will be a dynamic duo. They're 2 guys you can really flex out into that wide receiver position to really get some decent mismatches on the defense.
Well, we're going to step away real quick and start this show off real quick. We're going to have Scotty Borderland. He's on his way up here in the second hour of the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Got a lot of things to talk to Scotty about. We're going to get his take on the offensive line depth. We're also going to talk to Scotty about that receiving core depth. And also, too, we're going to, dabble a little bit into the tight ends and the running backs. Can you kind of see where we're going? Today's about depth in the offensive side of the football, and we're going to focus solely on that side of the ball and get more information. The thing that I'm also going to look at is the running back. I know right now they're holding out a Monte Spivey, true freshman running back out of Phoenix, Alabama. Went to Central High School. He's dealing with a little asthma, but he was out in full gear in the green jersey, but did go through a lot of the ball skill drill portion of practice. So he is getting some kind of work. Maybe not the contact part, but most of the part. Well, we're going to get to Coach Jeff Traylor. He talks about his running backs. It's on the hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479.
58 snaps in the scrimmage, which is a lot of plays in the heat.
He's from Texas, so I guess you knew him the second time around. How did that work out?
He loves football. He just loves football. I was at another university when I was coming out, so I didn't recruit him as hard. And Coach Craddock had recruited him hard when he was at SMU. So they had a relationship. I knew of Trey just from being at another university watching him. But when I went back and watched his high school video, it just screamed how much he loved football. And Coach Craddock had recruited him and known him, so he knew how much he loved football as well. And that's some kids are really good at football. They don't necessarily like football. He really loves football. When he's not out there with us, he's watching it, he's talking about it. It's just what he loves to do.
So did he reach out to y'all?
Oh yeah, he wanted after he'd already transferred. And he reached out to us, and we were glad to take him on board.
Jeff, the run game 1 year ago till now, what have you seen in advancements? How can you be better?
Last year we were just trying to get the install in. So we weren't really good at the details of it. You can just go back and watch our games. Our track steps were all over the place. There was no consistency. We're just really trying to clean up our details of our work. And, our ball security wasn't bad last year. There was still a lot of instances where the ball was loose. We just got lucky and didn't fumble it. We're trying to clean that up. Our track steps
the way we fit up on our pass protection. Not so much. We were very successful in our pass protection last year, believe it or not, from our position. But the way it looks, the technique of it, the small things, just the details of it. We're really trying to get just finer in our work.
Rakeem said he's been watching film with the offensive line and stuff. That's got to help with him just coming in at the start of camp last year.
Can't say enough about him right now. I don't think you ever heard me comment about his practice habits last year. He was very talented. He was very good. But he is, in his last 3 days, we haven't got today's results back yet, personal best and his highest percentage of yards of just effort. He was at 70% of his max, for the highest 3 days in a row. And I would be surprised if he went 4 days in a row today, which he's never had that. He's been the top guy in our room now 3 days in a row. And Debois and Chase won't want to see this when it gets put out there. But Rakeem's done that. And I hope today is day 4. I really do for him.
At what point did he kind of complain about his shoulder was bothering him?
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, coming to you live here on KDSJ 479. It's our Thursday edition of OTH, but Arkansas is in day 12 of fall camp, heading into this 2019 football season. And what better way? We bring him back each and every year because I feel like he's one of the best writers in the business. Works for the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, Scotty Borderland. Scotty B, welcome to OTH, my man. Yes, it has been a minute. We all know once we descend upon Hoover, Alabama, it's slightly a few weeks off. We'll get into Razorback and SEC fall camp. Scotty, what have you taken? What are some of your takes 12 days into fall camp for Arkansas's 2019 season?
I think the tight end room is, obviously you want China Brady to be in that rotation. I think he's obviously the star in that group, but I think he got some talent too. It seems like Chase Carroll's transitioned well from receiver to tight end. He's made a couple, I think he's got a couple touchdowns in live work. Barry Lunning really likes where Grayson Gunther is. He's finally grown into the guy that Lunning thought he would be when they recruited him. So he's kind of a veteran guy in the room. They like their options there. I think they'll be fine there, even if they have to play with O'Grady out in the first game. But at receiver, and I'll talk to Justin Stubb today, he wasn't really pleased with the work his guys got in today. He thinks they'll bounce back tomorrow. But I mean, you look at Mike Woods, Deion Stewart, Trey Knox, and all those freshman receivers. They got some weapons out there. I think it's just a matter of consistency. And Justin Stepp also said today that receiver is one of the more complicated positions in Arkansas's offense. So it's taken some time, I think, for those freshmen to kind of settle in a little bit. But still, even through that, we've seen some of those freshmen really stand out the first few weeks.
Outside of the freshman class, I've been really impressed, Scotty, with the way the seniors have conducted themselves and really conducted the culture for fall camp heading 12 days in. When you have a class as talented as those freshmen, have you also seen the increased urgency from those older guys, those third year sophomores, those fourth year juniors, fifth year seniors? I mean, have you seen an added urgency?
Yeah, definitely. And coaches have talked about that quite a bit too, especially I keep talking about Justin Stepp, but his room is a prime example of that. You brought in 4 really good receivers. So they're 4-star receivers. That's gonna do nothing but push guys like Mike Woods and Deion Stewart, Davion Warren, guys that are returning. Jordan Jones, another name too. That young talent is definitely pushing those older guys, because if the older guys don't bring it and the younger guys are bringing it, then the freshmen are going to be taking their spot on the field, and they obviously don't want that. So it's creating good competition, and I think you're seeing that at a number of positions. I think you could even say that probably for some of the defensive backs, and especially on the defensive line, like maybe at defensive end, Mateo Sola is probably giving Gabe Richardson all he wants,
right?
Pushing for playing time. So yeah, I'd say that's true.
We spoke with the coaching staff, and we met with defensive coordinator John Chavis on Monday. Also, talked a few days ago with defensive ends coach Steve Caldwell, and also when meeting with Coach Mo, they all said a lot of these freshmen are gonna take a step out on day one and be high contributors. And I think when you have 52 underclassmen, I think that's something that you're really gonna have to count on. How nervous are you to have such a young but still yet talented roster heading into 2019? 52 underclassmen, Scotty. Where are you at with that? Is it talent that you really believe can step in and make an impact, or is that something that the jury's still out?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think the jury is still out because they haven't played anybody, right? Like those freshmen, like half your roster are pretty close to it. Half your 110 is newcomers or freshmen or whatever, red shirts. Yeah, I think the jury's still out on a lot of those guys, but the names that we've heard, like Soley, Greg Brooks, and Trey Knox, Traylon Burks, TQ Jackson, I think some of those guys are I think they're legit. Like, I would not be surprised to see those guys have big years, and I think Soley's definitely a guy who's going to be used just because of his skill set and his frame and the weight that he's added in the offseason. I think he's going to be expected to contribute more than just at the defensive end spot, like we've seen in some of the open portions of practice. Like, he's working with special teams, kind of on that last line of defense, in front of the punter too. So, I mean, I think Soley's gained a lot of trust with the coaches just through the way he's worked, and yeah, I expect him to have a big year, but also expect to see some freshmen. They may play their 4 games, or they may not even play all those 4 games and get a red shirt year in, which will benefit them down the line for sure.
The $1 million question I get asked, and I'm pretty sure you and multiple media outlets, wherever you go, is the quarterback. What have you seen in the short amount of periods that we get to see every day as far as how things are going as far as naming the starting quarterback?
Yeah, I think Chad said it kind of the other day. Like, I don't know that there's really much separation at this point, and that's kind of don't like to hear that halfway through camp. But Chad says it all the time. I think that's by design too. Today, I don't think it was a great day as far as what we saw. I think Nick Starkel, in like the first period, I think he was 0 for 3 passing. I think he had a ball broken up by Ladarius Bishop, Buster broke it up. Buster Brown broke it up. And I think Ben Hicks was 0 for 3. And John Stephen Jones, I think, was 0 for 2. And then KJ Jefferson, I think, completed the only 2 balls by quarterbacks today. One of them was about a 25-yard play to Peyton Osley, who's probably not going to play this year, or have a significant role.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, even KJ though, he rolled out, I think, on one of his last throws, and nearly got picked off by Jalen Catalon. So I mean, after the scrimmage last weekend, I think Joe Craddock said that John Stevens is probably the best at getting the ball into the end zone. I don't know that that's what you want to hear as far as Starkel and Hicks are concerned, but those guys will come along. I expect that there will be some headway made in that quarterback competition pretty soon, especially after this weekend.
Talking with Scotty Bordelin of the Arkansas Democrat Gazette here on the Hill Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. Scotty, a position that I've really seen a vast improvement, and even more so an infusion of speed is back in the secondary. When you bring in Greg Brooks, Devin Bush, Ladarius Bishop, Malik Chavis, you get a lot faster from what I've seen, and better cover skills. Those matchups between those wide receivers and corners and safeties when they go when they do 7-on-7 are very, very interesting. Talk about that back end, because Chavis said you're probably going to see about 4 freshmen back in that secondary, and for the most part, it's a young group with, I believe, no seniors back there. Talk about that group going forward, and how excited are you to see Buster and Pac-Man be able to lock that down, being sophomores, and that you're pretty much set in your starting 4.
Yeah, I think starting the back end, like, I think you start with, as far as corners go, you start with Jarquez, and he's been injured the last couple of days with an injury, but he still came up with a pick yesterday toward the end of practice, and today, Greg Brooks was another guy that was wearing a green jersey today. He injured his thumb in the scrimmage on Saturday, but regardless, like he's still running with the first group, and I think that says a lot about him and the progress that he's made. His first fall camp, he's running with the ones and expected to make a pretty good impact. So, the defensive backs. I think Cam Curl and Joe Fouché have made big leaps since last year, providing a little bit of leadership, especially Cam. And like I said earlier, Mister made a pretty good play on the ball today. So I feel pretty good about the corners and the secondary. And there's just not a ton of experience outside of Cam, so that's creates a little pause. But I think they'll be okay. And if those starters don't get it done, there's definitely some guys behind them who'll be more than happy to come in and play.
Absolutely. Last question. To me, it seems this defense is flying vastly under the radar with a lot of experience that's come back. That front four experience, got a big time playmaker in Scooter Harris there at the middle linebacker spot, and like you said, youth, but a lot of speed and good ball skills back on the back end. Is this defense, in your opinion, Scotty, does it have a chance to fly under the radar and be better than some expect it to be?
Man, they better hope that they're better than they were last year. They can make an improvement. I think run defense has a chance to be a little bit better this year. In the Arkansas, I think, allowed 200 yards rushing per game in conference play each of the last 3 years.
Right.
And that's just Ole Miss is the only other team that's done that, and that's not great company.
No, you're gonna cut it.
But I think they're making strides there, and it kind of goes back to, like, you got TJ Smith back and Sosa back, kind of play in the middle, and going back to like the youth, like Torian Carter, Marcus Miller, Isaiah Nichols. Some of those guys are they're waiting for their opportunity too, and they know they can play, and they're kind of waiting around for their opportunity, and when it comes, I'm sure they'll do all they can to contribute. And the biggest question for me is, like, gosh, I think it is that run defense and just kind of the experience in the secondary. Right. But I think, like, Pac-Man got a lot of playing time last year, and he was thrown in the fire after Chevin Callaway left.
Right.
That's really going to benefit him. We'll see how Buster does, but dude's athletic. So he can cover some ground. So I expect him to be improved. How much improved, I'm not sure. But surely they'll be able to hold teams under 200 yards rushing per game in conference.
Well, Scotty, we love having you on, and hey, prepare as we kick it off and have you on a consistent basis, listeners. Scotty will be joining each and every week to bring his take for the 2019 Razorback football version. But for now, Scotty, thanks for taking time out on the hill, my man.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Right.
That was Scotty Borland of the Arkansas Democrat Gazette with a little take, his take on how things are going 12 days into camp. But we also caught up with wide receiver coach Justin Stepp. And then following Justin, we're going to have Nikki Chevenel of Rivals.com. She's going to talk recruiting and even more Razorback fall camp. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Let's get it.
Everything, so I missed that. I missed whatever's going on the turf field, but I know my field was not to our standard as a group, and we got to get better.
You got some options. Has anyone really stepped up, though, as a consistent playmaker?
It's usually been a different guy every day. I told somebody a second ago, Tyson Morris has showed up the last 2 days and done a good job and made some plays. But it's been a different guy every day, really. It hasn't been the same guy every single day. We got a lot of competition, and we got competition in our room that makes everybody better. And, not our best day today, but we got to follow it up with a good day. Just ability to get out there and make plays. He's played hard, he's practiced hard, and we're gonna play the guys that can get out there and make plays and play the right way, play as hard as they can, play one play at a time, and just mix it up, man. We're gonna mix it up, put different guys in there, and see who can go.
What's your miss game where you're limited on travel? How many
your position?
It depends. Special teams wise, 6 to 8 maybe. Just who can help on special teams, and just the depth on a lot of our teams that plays a lot into it.
Trey's been practicing a little bit without his knee brace. I guess he's feeling pretty confident in the game.
Yeah, he got cleared by 2 doctors to practice without it. It was probably more of a hindrance to him than it was anything. So he feels comfortable without it, and he's done a good job. So he's a pleaser. He wants to do everything perfect. So we're really pleased with him.
Chad was talking about TQ's speed supposedly the other day. How have you seen TQ?
He can roll. TQ can roll. Obviously, being a freshman, man, there's so much to play receiver in this offense. It ain't just line up and go, man. It's one of the more complicated positions in our offense. So the more he gets comfortable, the faster he'll be able to play. But man, when he knows what he's doing, there's not anybody on the field that can run with him. We got a lot of speed in our room. We got a lot of competition.
How much further ahead are Shamar Nash and Trey Knox and the other two because they were here early?
Obviously they had spring ball and they had winter conditioning. Obviously they're a little bit more comfortable with the offense because they've been in it. We didn't install very much in the spring, so at the beginning I would say they were a lot further ahead. But now that we've installed a lot more, everybody's on the same playing field now. Everybody's had close to 2 weeks in this offense now. So all the stuff these guys do during the summer when we're not here, the older guys did a really good job of coaching them up and getting them prepared.
That's cool. Good spirit.
Welcome back. It's our Thursday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, coming to you here from KDSJ 479. And continuing on, we're going to bring on another special guest. She'll be making her debut, and we'll continue on throughout the 2019 football Razorback campaign with my good buddy. She's going to join us now and knows a lot of football people. Get ready for Nikki Sevenell of Rivals.com. Nikki C., welcome to OTH.
Thanks for having me, Pat. This is exciting.
Let's get off into it, Nikki. First, before we touch a little bit on recruiting, I want to get off into 12 days of fall camp for this Razorback football team going forward in year 2 under Coach Mo. What are some of the highlights that you've seen, and also some of the question marks still yet you're looking to have answered as we head up to opening day?
Obviously the young guys are making a lot of the headlines. They have a lot of talent, but it's just going to be about how quickly they can catch up to both the defensive scheme and the offensive scheme. But I like what I'm seeing from older guys as well. You still see dominance from Sosa and from Scuda and those guys, but they've also shown a lot of confidence in the depth at linebacker, even though there aren't a lot of guys who played significant reps there.
Great point.
And then it seems like even the true freshman offensive linemen that, personally, when I saw them coming out of high school, they weren't the top rated guys in the class, but they all seem like they're coming along pretty quickly and moving into the 3s and 2s quickly. So there have been a lot of, we could see more of it. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that we see after practice from the football staff. They put out videos, and we don't get to see any of that, and it seems like it's been going well. Not too great today. Apparently the receivers had a bad day, and that led to the offense just having an off day, but I expect them to get it back on track for the scrimmage this weekend.
Which leads me into my next question, Nikki C. Talking about that wide receiver core, like I said, a tremendous influx of talent. When you talk about Trey Knox, Traylon, Shamar, and TQ, when you add those 4 into that room, have you really seen those older guys like Jordan Jones, Deion Stewart? Have you seen those guys go to another level with just the knowing that, hey, you got some young puppies that are really ready to get out and make an impact? Have you seen a difference in the older guys with this talent that's coming in?
Well, Coach Steph says they're working harder, but from what we've seen, it doesn't look that much different. I assume that most of the improvement that we're going to see from the older wide receivers is just that they're going to be more comfortable knowing what they're doing in the scheme. I'm not necessarily sure that they're going to be that much improved physically.
Right.
They wanted to bring in length, speed, and height, and that's what they did because they didn't have it before. And so you will have to incorporate the true freshmen if you're gonna try to add some more things to your game that you couldn't do last year.
When you look at the quarterback spot, Nikki, you recently covered Chad at SMU during Ben Hicks' time there at SMU. Comes to Arkansas. Where do you see the quarterback rotation? Because, you know, from my vantage point, I've always felt, from what I've seen through 12 days, they kind of gravitate and have a little bit of excitement around Nick Starkles and KJ. But Ben just seems to be that old steady. What have you seen differently here at Arkansas offensively with Ben for Chad, as opposed to what you were able to cover and watch him perform at SMU?
Well, he just seems very confident in himself and his ability to lead the team. I think one of the offensive linemen described him as kind of authoritarian, and I think that's what they need in that row. Starkle is more laid back and kind of one of the guys, but Ben Hicks is he's gonna rag on you hard if you're not doing well. So I think he has a great opportunity as a grad transfer to be in that role, and I think it's something that he's enjoyed doing in the past, but now being that guy really gets to embrace it. Playing wise, I haven't really seen much different from him than what he could do at SMU. I think that he has perhaps, you know, even more targets here than he did at SMU, especially last year once Cortland Sutton and Trey Quinn left. So he definitely is still in the mix for the starting job, but I think they're trying to play both guys more and more with the ones and the twos, just so that both guys will be ready. But I expect them to make a decision. If not after this scrimmage this weekend, then after Wednesday, and they might hold off to make the decision until Morris holds his game week press conference on that Monday. So we'll see.
Talking with Nikki Sevenell of Rivals100.com here on OTH, covers recruiting for the University of Arkansas and gives us the lowdown on from her vantage point for the 2019 version. Nikki, when you look at Chad, and like I said, you came from SMU to Arkansas to continue your coverage of Coach Morris. You know, what have you seen recruiting wise? Are you surprised? And I think what my question to you would be: are you surprised to see that Chad's able to kind of in year two build the depth so quickly, or, you know, did you see him being able to do it this quick, or what was your timeline before you started to really see the talent change here on campus?
So Moore's recruiting at SMU was like, I mean, it's just completely different because he had all the talent around there, but none of those guys were going to go to SMU. Like, it just wasn't going to happen, no matter how good of a recruiter you are. But here, he gets to be, you know, all of Chad Morris's whole personality, and kids love who he is as a coach. And parents love the coaching staff. They think that, you know, they'll really take care of the kids, and that's something that they preach a lot, that you don't have to worry about the kids while they're here because we're a family and we'll take care of them. So I'm not surprised that he's been able to do it very successfully at this level. They are struggling a bit more this class. They aimed really high, thinking that the 2019 class would kind of build momentum for the 2020 class, but that kind of got cut off by the 2-10 record.
Right.
When recruits are talking to their friends or other recruits about the schools that they're interested in, believe me, that 2-10 record comes up, and kids do care about their perception. You know, social media and everything. Perception is everything. So it's just going to take a good season, and by good I mean showing big improvement and potentially reaching a bowl game to get that recruiting momentum back. But I can see it happening, and if they get a couple more guys before the season starts, which they might, but they're really focusing on this team right now, and I think that's smart. They need to put 110% of their effort into getting wins this season.
I know it's dead period, and in your specialty, I mean, and I read a lot of your articles, you do a great job covering recruiting for the University of Arkansas. But who are some names our viewers and listeners that might want to follow, you know, your recruiting that you see that could possibly be, you know, the next next commitments, so to speak, for this staff?
Yeah, well, I would keep an eye out on Darren Turner. He was up here for the barbecue last month, but he has been kind of waiting it out, and I don't know if he's going to wait until he takes an official visit to make a decision. But right now, it looks like Arkansas is his best option, and he really likes the coaching staff and their ties to the Memphis area. He's a 4-star wide receiver who also plays safety, so you never know how that could go. Maybe he ends up at safety.
Exactly.
But right now, there just aren't a lot of kids looking to make moves because they know that they can take a lot more visits once the season gets started, and they want to see game day atmospheres at different schools. But I'd keep an eye out on him, and also Aaron Moore, who I feel like they're kind of maybe just waiting on because there are several linebackers. He's a linebacker from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Their number one priority at linebacker is definitely Bryce Easton, who is teammates with Martavius French at Whitehaven, who's already a commit.
Right.
So I think they don't want to scare Bryson away by taking another linebacker before him. So they're kind of doing a dance right now, and I think it'll get settled in the beginning part of the season.
How big of an impact has the addition of Kenny Ingram as the defensive line coach, a former Whitehaven graduate there in the Memphis area? How big of an impact do you think he's been, with so many Memphis prospects in that area, in that 2020 class that Arkansas, is involved with? How important has that been with his addition, in your opinion?
Well, I think when they added him, that was obviously a big benefit because it shows the kids that they want Memphis to be kind of an extension of the state of Arkansas, and they want to kind of create a family of Tennessee guys over here, and having Kenny Ingram there is a big step towards that. But from what I can tell, he's been a great defensive tackles coach as well. So while the recruiting is one small aspect, I think it's more about his coaching ability. They have guys on staff like S.J. Tui and Alex Dale who are from that area, so they can help with the recruiting as well.
Great point. Well, Nikki, as always, love having you on. Now, we're going to be making this a weekly thing and making you a part of our weekly OTH information. But as always, Nick, thanks for taking time out on the hill.
No problem. I'm about to go eat some Chipotle.
Eat me some.
All righty.
All right. That was Nikki Sevenel of Rivals.com with her insight as to the recruiting part of things. She had a lot of insight covering Chad at SMU. Followed Chad here to Arkansas and does a great job with all the recruitment of the Arkansas News. But that's going to wrap it up for today's show. We'll be back tomorrow. Give a shout out to our sponsors, as this would not be possible without you all. Lindsay and Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also too in Rogers. Locomotion, it's located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall. And lastly, our good buddy, Corey Beck's Custom Painting. You need it to look good, commercial, residential. Contact Corey Beck's Custom Painting. He'll make sure you are very, very happy. I know we are. But that's going to do it for my producer, Demetrius Johnson, and myself. And to you all, it's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDL. Oh, and a quick note. We will not be on air tomorrow. Once again, we'll be back Monday at our regular scheduled time, 1 p.m., to bring you all information from this weekend's scrimmage, number 2 in fall camp. But for all of our sponsors, Lindsay and Associates, we're going to get out of here, but we'll see you next week. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. You guys have a blessed one. Let's get it.